Canada invests in services to support economic integration and fill labor market shortages. Canada is intensifying its efforts to boost economic growth and address labor shortages by expanding immigration pathways and support services. Recent measures reflect a multifaceted national approach to welcome newcomers, particularly in essential sectors like healthcare and social services. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Canada's new government has a mandate to build a strong economy by attracting the best talent in the world and filling key labor shortages. Today, the Honourable Lena Metlidge-Diab, Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, announced more than $3.2 billion over 3 years across more than 520 organizations outside Quebec to improve the integration of newcomers, including into the job market and to reduce labor shortages. Settlement services are essential to filling vacancies in high-demand sectors such as healthcare and skilled trades. With increased economic integration, newcomers can apply their skills quickly, fill critical labor gaps, and boost productivity. Funding will be provided to local organizations to deliver tailored services that recognize regional considerations and needs, instead of applying a one-size-fits-all approach. Services will include support with getting a license or certification in a regulated profession, providing job-specific and general language training in English and French, supporting French-speaking newcomers to integrate into Francophone communities outside Quebec. These services will help newcomers build successful lives in Canada by supporting their economic, social, and cultural integration into communities across the country. With an outcomes-focused approach, Canada will attract a strong workforce and build one Canadian economy, the strongest economy in the G7. Canada invites 4,000 foreigners in healthcare, social services for PR. Canada has issued 4,000 invitations to apply for permanent residency in its latest express entry draw held on July 22, 2025. The draw focused on candidates working in 37 healthcare and social services occupations. The comprehensive ranking system score cutoff for this draw was 475, down 29 points from the previous category-specific draw for the same sector held in June 2025. Candidates needed to have created their express entry profile before 1:08 p.m. Universal Time Coordinated on March 13, 2025 to be eligible. Occupations invited under the draw. The following roles were considered in the latest round: registered nurses and registered psychiatric nurses, general practitioners and family physicians, dentists, pharmacists, physiotherapists and optometrists, psychologists, social workers, and counselors, licensed practical nurses, medical technologists and technicians, veterinary technicians and veterinarians, massage therapists, chiropractors, dietitians and audiologists, nurse aides and patient service associates, paramedical occupations, pharmacy and therapy assistants. A complete list of all 37 eligible national occupation classification codes was published by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Canada's express entry system in July 2025. This was the fourth express entry draw of the month. Previous draws included July 21, 202 ITAs under the Provincial Nominee Program with a CRS cutoff of 788. July 8, 3,000 ITAs under the Canadian Experience class with a CRS cutoff of 518. July 7:356 ITAs under another PNP draw with a CRS cutoff of 750. So far in 2025, IRCC has issued 49,403 ITAs through the express entry system. The total number of candidates in the pool stood at 256,914 as of July 20, 2025. Category-based selection helps lower CRS candidates. For candidates with CRS scores below 500, category-based selection continues to be one of the most accessible pathways to permanent residency. To qualify under this route, applicants must have a minimum of 6 months of full-time, continuous work experience. This work must be in one of the designated occupations. The experience can be gained inside or outside Canada. What is the Provincial Nominee Program? Canada's PNP allows provinces and territories, except Quebec and Nunavut, to nominate skilled individuals for permanent residency. Each region has its own selection streams targeting workers, graduates and business owners who can contribute to the local economy. Express entry draws this year have largely concentrated on PNP candidates, while other draws have been directed towards French language speakers, Canadian Experience class applicants, and category-specific occupations. Ford government plans to grant asylum seekers work permits via constitutional clause. Ontario is planning to sidestep the federal government and begin issuing work permits to asylum seekers living in the province using a clause written into the Constitution. At the end of a 3-day summit with the nation's leaders in Muskoka, Ontario, Premier Doug Ford said his government would start studying how it could give asylum seekers the right to work immediately in the province. "We have authority in that area," he said. "No one understands the sectors and their labor needs better than the premiers." Ford said it was Alberta Premier Danielle Smith who pointed out Section 95 of the Constitution gives provinces the right to make decisions on immigration. That section allows provincial governments to create laws governing immigration, as long and as far only as it is not repugnant to any federal law. Global News contacted the Federal Immigration Ministry to ask if it would oppose any moves by Ontario to give asylum seekers work permits. It did not send a statement in time for publication. "We will be issuing our own work permits," Ford declared on Thursday. He said the move made sense in order to allow asylum seekers, who receive government support while their applications are processed, to contribute to the local economy as they wait. "I have a tremendous amount of asylum seekers that are up in Etobicoke in the hotels. They're healthy, they're willing to work, they're hardworking people, but they're waiting over 2 years and they're just sucking off the system, not their fault," Ford said. "The fault falls under immigration that it takes over 2 years to get a work permit." The Premier's office said Ontario, along with other provinces, was currently exploring exactly what using Section 95 powers would look like. They said there was no timeline for when the province could start issuing work permits, nor had it yet been finalized what mechanisms or legislation would be needed. Direction from Ford, however, was clear. According to his office, internal work would begin immediately to figure out how to grant the work permits. The Premier said asylum seekers in his province want to work. "They want to get out there and they want to be like every other Canadian," Ford said. "They want to find a job, they want to be able to first start off renting a condo or part of a house and then buying a house." Alberta concerned with federal plan to accept newcomer parents, grandparents. Alberta's immigration minister says he's concerned about the federal government's plan this year to accept thousands of parents and grandparents of immigrants already in Canada. Joseph Chow responded Tuesday to a federal notice that Ottawa plans to take in 10,000 applications from those who have previously expressed interest in sponsoring family members. In a statement, Chow said provincial healthcare systems, housing and social services don't have the capacity and could be overwhelmed. Chow took issue with the 10,000 figure. Federal Immigration Minister Lena Diob's office said the federal government's actual countrywide target for approvals this year for the parent and grandparent immigration stream is higher at 24,500. Diob's office said Chow was responding to a notice that the ministry is preparing to take in 10,000 applications for consideration from already settled immigrants who expressed interest in 2020 in sponsoring their parents or grandparents. Family reunification is an important part of Canada's immigration system, helping Canadian citizens and permanent residents sponsor their loved ones to live and work alongside them in Canada, a spokesperson for Diob said in an email, adding that the federal government is committed to reuniting as many families as possible. Chow's office said it was under the impression the 10,000 was the 2025 target, and his concern remains the same. Chow said in the Tuesday statement that he understands the importance of family reunification, but inviting large numbers of parents and grandparents into the country without proper coordination with provinces places disproportionate strain on already busy health systems. This creates serious concerns for both Albertans and the newcomers themselves, who may not receive timely care if our system is overwhelmed. The minister didn't directly answer questions about whether he wants to see the parent and grandparent target reduced or eliminated. In an email, he said the root issue is the federal government setting immigration targets without provincial input. The more direct concern with this program is its impact on healthcare, Chow added. Diob's office said since parents and grandparents accepted under the program require a sponsor to financially support them, it doesn't put any excessive burden on provincial services. Family reunification not only leads to social and cultural benefits but also economic benefits, said the spokesperson. Chow said Alberta's government wants overall immigration reduced to below 500,000 per year, and that provinces need to have a stronger role in selecting newcomers to meet local needs. Under targets set last fall, Ottawa is aiming to approve just over 1 million immigration applications this year, including temporary residents on work visas, international students, refugees, and new permanent residents like parents and grandparents of newcomers. On Wednesday, premiers from across Canada collectively called on the federal government to engage more with provincial governments on immigration targets and increase the share of economic immigrants each province is allocated under the Provincial and Territorial Nominee Program. The joint federally and provincially run program works to fast-track the permanent residency process for workers in sought-after sectors. For Alberta, that includes healthcare, technology, and law enforcement. Provinces and territories are best positioned to understand their local labor market needs and call on the federal government to support their respective priorities, reads a joint statement from premiers following their three-day meeting in Ontario. Xiao's comments also come as a panel chaired by Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is touring the province to hear from citizens on a number of topics, including whether Alberta should create its own immigration permitting system and block non-approved newcomers from accessing services like healthcare. At the panel's most recent town hall in Edmonton, a member of the public accused Smith of punching down on immigrants. Smith said the province is trying to find solutions to housing affordability, hospital capacity, classroom sizes, and increasing pressure on our social programs. There has to be a reasonable amount of newcomers that are able to come here, fit into the economy, be able to be self-supporting, Smith told the audience. As provinces respond with both support and concern, Canada's evolving immigration strategy highlights the balance between welcoming newcomers and managing regional capacities. This video aimed to ensure both economic resilience and compassionate integration. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.